Hello, hello, hello. Is this thing on? All right. What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Most Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's good? What's
What's
good?
the word, baby? We are live. We are back in the flesh, huh? First time, man. First time we get to do a live, version of this thing on YouTube. Everybody, can you hear us good? What's the audio sounding like? We thumbs up, we thumbs down, man.
What's good? What's good?
There it is. Okay. Shout out to everybody that's in the building with us right now. Donnie, I see you, baby. Nicholas, man, shout out to the Pirates. They are winning, and you got my man Deke in here.
Yo. Don't tell me the score. Don't tell me the score. I'm doing a react to this game later on. I got some bets on the line, too, so don't tell me the score. Please.
Hey.
We'll see if we make it the whole live stream. We'll see.
Right. But big time shout out to everybody that's here with this, man. Major love. So we're excited, man, because we're talking, obviously, Steelers free agency, man, some of the moves they've made. And two of the bigger signings that they had this weekend, running back Kalen Ballage and offensive lineman Rashaad Coward. So just starting out with Kalen, man. In terms of his signing, a little bit backstory on him. He was a fourth round draft pick out of Arizona State in 2018 to the Miami Dolphins. Now he's had 3 different teams in 4 seasons. Last year he was with the Dolphins at one point, and then the Chargers at the end of the year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Jets. Okay. Jets initially, and then he went to the Chargers at the end of the season. So a little bit of a journeyman, but intriguing because obviously we know what we need in terms of running backs. And we know that we struggled in terms of short yardage pickup. And this is something that Kalen tends to specialize in, or at least that's, how people are marketing him. So for me, I just wanted to hear, what you think on this signing, man. You think this changes how we feel about the draft and free agency? You like them? No? Yes? Maybe?
I don't think it changes how we feel about the draft. I still think we're going to take a running back early on in the draft. Because with him, I think with anything we do with the Steelers, you're hopeful. You're just like, oh, man.
Got to be hopeful,
maybe
right?
The Steelers know something that we don't.
Yeah.
And then if you kind of even want to dig even deeper, whenever he was with Miami was pretty shitty with their running backs. You saw what happened with Kenyon Drake.
Very
so you
true.
look at that. But then you look when he got an opportunity with the Chargers and even the Jets. Dude, it's weird. He was
high.
Because the Chargers line's bad too.
Yeah, it's very true.
The Chargers line is bad. And you watch some of his stuff, and you're right. He does have that short yardage specialty. But what I will say about him, though, too, he can catch the ball out the backfield.
Yeah, I think
he can go the
20,
distance.
22 catches last year. So
I've seen him torch some cornerbacks, torch the linebackers at the midfield point, and then just kind of break it off. I don't know. He looks like he could be, if he put it all together, an every down back.
Yeah.
But are we going to jump the gun and say that that's what he is based off his body of work through the NFL up to this point? Because he didn't look bad with the Chargers when he got the start last year. I'll give you that. But I'd rather have Bell. That's basically what it comes down to. I'd just rather have Bell. This isn't a bad signing because we do need some type of competition at running back. I think it's going to be between, as of right now, we have Ballage, we have McFarland, Snow, and Samuel. We got a competition between those 4 for 2 roster spots. And I think we're going to draft someone still. So that's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Well, so for me, man, I share a similar sentiment. I like the fact that Kalen does bring in that competition. More so for a guy like Benny Snell. We know with Benny now, this is on his 3rd season. Typically, the way this works, if you haven't shown that you can be either the bell cow or a legitimate contributor to a rotation, this is usually around that year where the team says, you know what, we're going to find somebody else. We're going to bring somebody in to just see if we can surpass you or if we're going to elevate your play. Now, either way for the organization, it's a win. If Benny Snell comes out and he sees this is competition and decides, well, you know what, I'm going to up my training. I'm going to come out here and make sure I'm dominant next year. Well, it's a great situation for us. But if Kalen can come in here and show that not only can he, excel in the short yard situation, but he could also bring something to the table from a special team standpoint, well, now you can see where the organization will say, well, man, we can make this move. It's a lot cheaper. And we can go ahead and have a fresh start with this guy versus, the lingering baggage of a guy that we wanted to be something that is just not really materializing into right now. So for me, man, I don't think this is going to dictate what they do from a draft standpoint. I think if any of the big 3 backs are available to us when it's draft time, in terms of Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, and Javonte Williams, I think if any of those 3 guys are there, they're going to take them.
Wait, are you hearing different rumors now?
No. When I say if they're there, not saying at 24.
Okay, second
round. Or it could be a situation
early
where
second round they want to trade up.
So, or I said that way, or it could be a situation where, say, Travis Etienne has fallen and he's in that 15, 16 range. Totally different ball game. Now you might trade up to get that. Very similar to what we did with Devin Bush. You're not trading to get him if he's in the top 10. But if he's sitting on that board in that 14, 15, 16 range, yeah, he's a generational talent. He's a guy that, you know what, we feel that he's the best back of the bunch. Yeah, you go get that guy. So that's why for me, I'm just like, if they're available, I don't think that this signing is going to change their viewpoint on those three guys. Now, I personally still don't think they go running back first round. You know, I'm thinking linebacker because they like to go linebacker. But either way, I don't think this move is going to dictate what they want to do.
Yeah, bringing him in, like if there is a running back available in that first round that they want, they're going to go linebacker or running back either way, not based off of us bringing in Ballage.
Absolutely.
What do you think of this move? I've seen some chirping out there, some comments about maybe he could bring some type of wrinkle with him to Canada's offense because in college, they were doing some wildcat with him at Arizona State. I don't know if that's possible
did we have
either.
A wildcat? Who was our wildcat? Jalen Samuels?
Dude, I'm not big on that anyway. I'd rather just have Big Ben out there. I would. But
I agree.
Now with Canada, a lot of people are excited about some type of new style of offense with reverses and maybe some of this wildcat stuff. I don't know if that's what they were thinking with bringing in Ballage. Like he can bring that element. So yeah, that's why I bring it up. I didn't know if you looked too much into it or thought about it.
No, man, I could definitely see that. I'm with you. I'm not the biggest fan
I'd rather
of
just
the
have
Wildcat.
Ben.
Yeah, I'd rather, if you want to run the ball, run the ball. If you want to throw the ball, throw the ball. But don't put the running back there and ask him to do run pass options and things like that. That's where you start tricking yourself. And I don't feel like you need to do that when you have the piece that this team has. But a name that keeps coming up in the chat that I wanted to get your thoughts on, man, and shout out to, I think it's Kane McDaniel that brought him up right here, Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon, the running back out of Ohio State. Now, we know earlier this week, the Steelers, in terms of Mike Tomlin, Kevin Colbert, passed on going to Alabama's pro day to see Najee Harris work out, and they went out to Ohio State where Trey Sermon was working out. Now, a lot was put into that because they were asking, well, man, if you got a chance to see, Najee, why wouldn't you go down there and see him? Why would you choose to see Trey Sermon instead of him? But my thing is, if he's available, say in the second or third round, which he more than likely will be, he's not
maybe
viewed as
fourth.
Yeah, seriously, maybe even fourth. Like, he's a guy that I would love to bring in. Like, if we're going to go the way I'm thinking in terms of linebacker 1, O-line 2, man, if Trey Sermon is there.
The running backs are deep.
Absolutely. I would love to do that.
I'm good with that. Yeah.
And he showed a lot of flash and promise at the end of the season last year for Ohio State. The problem with him was people didn't get a chance to see him against the best of the best. The game against Alabama in the national championship, he gets hurt the first play of the game. So the mystique, the mystery of, can he be dominant against that team? Because that's, NFL 1 AA right there, in terms of what Bama brings to the table. We all wanted to see him against that team, and unfortunately, one snap in, he gets hurt. So you still have those questions around him, but he's still going to be a high pedigree guy coming from that Ohio State program. And when you think about the history of Ohio State running backs, they've typically had some success, at the NFL level. So I would like to see, if we're not going to go running back at 24 or in that first round period, if Trey Sermon is available, I would like him there as well. But that's the luxury that you have when you bring in a guy like Kalen Ballage. If you went out and spent a little bit more money on a higher pedigree guy right now, it's a different conversation, I think, as it pertains to the draft. Because you're like, well, we're double dipping right here when we got other needs that need to be addressed.
Yeah, that's fair. We talked about this before, too, whenever we were discussing some of the running backs, probably like a month ago. Mm-hmm. This running back class is pretty deep.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, you bring up Trey Sermon. One of the guys that I really like is Kalen Hill.
Yeah.
So if we don't draft a running back in one of those first 2 rounds, I'm good with waiting because now all of a sudden it feels like as this offseason has gone, our needs have increased a little bit.
Yeah.
So if we can get one of these dudes who knows, man, especially with these running backs, you see it all the time. Arian Foster, he was undrafted.
Yeah.
You see dudes that they just come on, they get the opportunity and could be awesome in the NFL. It's just that type of position. And I still see talent late in the draft with these running backs. So I'm completely good with that. No matter if it's Trey Sermon, Kalen Hill, whoever else, Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
There's a few guys like late in the draft.
Chuba's interesting because he was all world coming into this season, but then obviously the fumbles and things like that really put a damper on his year, and then he kind of had that abrupt, all right, I'm just gonna opt out and wait until next season. Like, you saw how that kind of played out, and it just left a bad taste in some people's mouth. But if you asked this dude a year ago, if we asked how we felt about Chuba Hubbard a year ago, we're singing a totally different tune to him. But you're right.
They had him in the top 3.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
If you look back
yes,
on
yes.
people whenever they were talking in 2019 about this running back draft class, they had Chuba Hubbard up there with Harris, with Etienne.
Absolutely, man. So you can just see, like I said, this is a deep draft in terms of having that running back available to you. And that's what you're going to need, because we know we need a running back right now. But to have that flexibility is key, especially right now, man, in one of those type of years. But I figured before we start getting a little bit more into this thing, because shout out to everybody in the chats, man. Y'all are going crazy right now. I love it. Man, shout out to you. Was it Biner, Felicia, Ali, Yenzer and Sixer, Jim, man, Viola. All right, we're going to get to y'all questions. We're going to get to your comments, man. Major love. But Deke, they're loving you right now. They love the taco meat. They love the Pirates fit. They said you look special right here, man. You look glorious.
Thank you.
And in the midst of all of that, man, if you haven't done so just yet, make sure you subscribing, man. You know we always show love to y'all when y'all show love back to us. So make sure you subscribe. And also you see the merchandise available, man, because they say this is the best sports podcast, right? That's what they tell us.
We're climbing up the
charts.
What
they say. That's what they saying to us. I don't say this, you don't say. That's what they tell us. So if you feel that way, make sure you're rocking the apparel, baby. You know, people talk about Nike, they rock Nike. People talk about the Pirates, they rock Pirates gear. So if you're talking about the Arthur Experience with Deke podcast, baby, make sure you're getting you a shirt, hoodie, coffee mug, great gifts for anyone you want, man. You know, it's just a beautiful thing, man. So support the movement, baby. Now, going back, so let's see. Do we want to go? Actually, yeah, we'll go here. Let's go Rashaad. We'll talk Rashaad, and then we got another person that's been bringing up a certain hot topic quarterback around here, but we haven't got to our hot topics just yet.
Okay.
Trade speculations and things on that nature. So you know we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
But talking about Rashaad Coward right here, man. Actually, this is the funny thing between the two signings, between Kalen Ballage and Rashaad. I'm actually higher on Rashaad.
Okay.
But he's not getting talked about at all right now because he plays O-line. We know this. But to me, I like that signing a lot more. I think, number one, he has a way better chance of making the roster and actually contributing. Number two, he comes from just a better cloth. Now, granted, he's not as high a pedigree as Kalen in terms of being a 4th-round draft pick, but in terms of his on-field play, it's a big difference. In terms of the stability, in terms of the starts that he's had, I mean, just you see a lot more continuity in his game at the NFL level than Kalen. Kalen has been more of the journeyman type in terms of bouncing around from team to team, whereas with Rashaad, think of him more so in the J.C. Hassanau or B.J. Finney vein. He's been able to stick with teams and spot start, right? I think he has...
he had 5 last year.
5 last year, and I think it was 10 in 2019.
He had a lot.
So you can see the amount of starts, something that Kalen has never come close to at the NFL level. For me, when we talk about our offensive line and we talk about the transition that's going through right now, having a guy like Rashaad who has started at guard, right guard, left guard, has started at right tackle, I like that positional flexibility and that versatility because even if he's not a starter, having high-quality depth guys like him, guys that have started experience for multiple years, that gets you out of games. We know, man, it's going to happen. Somebody's going to get injured on the offense line. It happens every year. You need guys like Rashaad who can come in and step in and play at a high level. Think Stefan Wisniewski a year ago, and we could go down the list in terms. I mean, think Doug Legursky, for example, right? He was another guy, started him with the Super Bowl for us, you know? So you can just see the difference of, you know, the depth that you need at that position. And for me, Rashaad gives me that. I feel like it's a lot more peace of mind with that signing.
Yeah, we're absolutely loading up on the offensive line with the depth right now.
We are, man.
We're just trying to cover all bases. I hate to break it to Rashaad, though. You're going to have to change your number. That's number one. No more 69 for you. That's Dotson's. And you talk about his position being either left guard, right guard.
Yeah.
You're not starting in either one of those positions this year either because Dotson's got that one under control over at the left guard, and then we got the Castro right guard. But you brought up tackle. So
well, like you said, he's not going to start. You think he's ever came into a season as a starting out the gate?
No.
Nah. But how many starts has he had the past 2 years?
I like how you brought up right tackle, though. I like how you brought that up. You never know. Now could it be a 3-man competition for 2 spots, left tackle and right tackle with Banner and Rashaad and then Chooks? Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see, man. And obviously the health element is real. So we're not going to ignore that part of it. We talked about the Castro's play last year. People say it was directly related to health. If health becomes an issue again for any of those guys, you still have a very valuable option right there. So if you're Rashaad, you're in the money seat. because you know you got the versatility to start at 3 positions.
Sure.
You know you're going to be able to compete at least for 2 of those positions. And then from there, man, you let the chips fall where they may. But Rashaad, this is a great situation for him, man. And the money's not too high, right? And from all accounts that I'm understanding, it's at the minimum level. So that's good money in terms of for the team, in terms of that investment in him. If he comes out and he's able to start and surprise people, great. But if not, it didn't cost you a whole lot of anything.
Yeah, all joking aside, I do think this is a good signing just because of our needs on the offensive line. But also, I don't know if you could attest to this a little bit. Does he have more upside? Because he started at defensive line.
Yeah,
and he switched over to offensive line. Yeah. So do you think there's still some untapped potential there?
No, without a doubt, man. Think TJ Watt, right? In terms of a guy that started at one position for the majority of his collegiate career and then switched over that last, year and a half, 2 years for TJ before he came to the league. And we talked about early on for TJ, like, even though he's playing well, man, he's still scratching the surface in terms of just understanding that position. Rashaad, I look at him in the exact same vein. Now, granted, nowhere near as high end as TJ, but similar concept in terms of this dude was a former D lineman. So just the mentality of that is night and day between what you're asked to do as a defender versus what you're asked to do as an offensive lineman. And the fact that not only have you switched from defense to offense, but you've been playing multiple positions on offense. So it's not even like a guy like Marquise Pouncey where you come and you're just playing center. You settled in there. That's all you're worried about. It's not like David DeCastro who's only playing guard. That's all you have to worry about. This guy's playing right tackle. He's playing left guard, right guard. So you can just see where he hasn't even had a chance to really grow and really, define his skills and things like that. So to me, I think this is a great opportunity for him to continue to just grow in that position and become a better player, because with football, it's just like anything else. The more time you put into it, the more good quality reps you have, the better you're going to get, the more things you're going to see, and your experience and wisdom is going to grow at that position. So for him, man, it's just more so just keep getting him around, keep giving him opportunities, and he'll be fine.
Too bad we don't have Munchak, though. We've done that with, Al was former tight end, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Obviously,
actually, former college wide receiver. He was a wide receiver at Army, so yeah.
So, yeah, we've been successful at that. What do you make of how the news was dropped, the rumors beforehand, and then him eventually getting signed?
I did. He was on the video game, right? It was a Call of Duty?
He wasn't. It was his wife.
Oh, what? I thought the initial report said he was gaming. No. The wifey was gaming?
He was in the background talking about it. And there was this dude in the group chat in the game that was actually talking to his wife. And he was like, what's going on in the background there? Like, he was trying to investigate a little bit. And she was like, my husband's in the NFL. And there wasn't too much information that was dropped. But the guy that was in the group chat went to Reddit and just basically
put it up there.
He wrote a couple paragraphs like, I think a trade with the Steelers and the Bears is coming through. Talked to this woman in the group chat. She said she's engaged or the wife of NFL player. He's talking in the background, and I heard the Steelers and the Bears mentioned and that he's excited to go to the Steelers. So then like a couple days after, that's when it officially happened.
That's crazy. And it's funny you just said that. Right here in the comment section, Jay Awesome literally just said, did you hear about how the Reddit situation with Rashaad? So that's crazy. The whole time I was under the impression that he was gaming. Find out his wife was gaming. I think that's pretty dope. I like it.
Yeah. That's just like an honest mistake.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, how people are these days with Twitch or just even video games, social media. Everyone's quick to just get the information out there really nonchalantly.
Yeah.
So that would have been jumping the gun a little bit.
Right?
But yeah, this was just an honest mistake and honestly pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh, very true. Very true. But I like it though, man. Like I said, it's still it's a good move regardless of how the information got leaked. It's not like one of those things where you're like, whoa, how did that drop? I think it doesn't matter right here. But shout out to the people in the comment. They just actually gave us some info on Chuba Hubbard. Said today he just ran a 4.36 at his pro day, man.
I did see that.
Yeah,
randomly.
man.
I was just scrolling some forums and stuff, and they posted some of the pro days, some of the stats. Well, Kyle Pitts out of Florida, he's looking amazing. But I saw that from Hubbard. I'm like, holy shit, bro. Yeah, so he might be going up the boards a little bit.
No, without it, I didn't realize he was that fast. I knew he was fast, but I didn't think he was 4.36 fast. Now, obviously, we all have to remember that because it's going to be hand times right now, that does change it a little bit, but it's still flying for him. That's definitely flying. But I was trying to find the person's name. Oh, here we go right here. Donnie. I'm not even going to butcher your last name, Donnie. But they want to talk about Sam Darnold, man, in terms of...
Is this legit? I haven't even heard about this.
Well, yeah. No,
this is April Fool's, isn't it?
No. I like I said, I know we were talking about it earlier today. It's
so
not...
Wait, if I type it?
It's not happening.
Okay.
But they were just asking about the interest because the past couple of days, even I think it was Tuesday, I did my other radio show and we spent like 2 hours talking about Sam Darnold and his impact. Even had, not Boomer. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. It's another like big radio host in New York that covers the Jets. We were talking to him about Sam Darnold in terms of what people view, because some people think that Mason is better than Sam Darnold. They would say they would rather roll with Mason than giving up a 3rd round pick for Sam Darnold. For me, I look at it like this. Sam Darnold is the same flyer that we just took on Dwayne Haskins. Sure. So to bring Sam Darnold in here for a 3rd round pick, I just feel like it's redundant because we're already taking a chance on a high pedigree guy who really didn't have the success that we all thought he could have, but because it's so close from when he was drafted in the 1st round that he's such an intriguing prospect, you get him for cheap, you got to take a chance on him. We've already done that.
Sure.
I think other teams, absolutely makes sense. If you're another team that you're looking for a guy that could potentially be a starter or at least be a high-end backup, yeah, you take a flyer on Sam Darnold. Or you can even take the route of just waiting because the Jets are more than likely going to cut him once they draft whoever they're drafting, right? So you got those options, but I just don't think it fits for us in Pittsburgh. But this is definitely legit. This is, like I said, we talked about, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
No way. Where's this coming? Who's reporting this, though? Like, where's it coming from?
As soon as the Jets said that they're looking for a 3rd round pick out of him, that's when all the reports started coming about the potential of the Steelers, because what have we been talking about the whole time this offseason? Quarterback. So even though some people are happy that Ben's back, we already said there was a large portion that still were like, man, this is, we need to get ready to move on.
A lot of those people were talking about it even during the season.
So that's the whole why, it's continuing to come up. And let's be real, it's always going to happen right now. I feel like any quarterback that becomes available or is like even showing interest of wanting to leave their team, sure, and if we think they're good, this is going to happen in terms of, do you think it could fit and things like that?
Yeah, it's like Ben being a mentor.
Yeah.
But, dude, I'm with you. I don't want to give up a 3rd round pick. We're trying to win right now, and a 3rd round pick could be very valuable. Mm-hmm. But if you're asking me, like, is Sam Darnold better than Mason Rudolph as, like, a backup, I think there's no question of that.
But that's the funny thing. A lot of people are divided on that. In terms of some people really, like, from the conversation we had and even with the analyst, like, he was still kind of on this thing where it's like, yo, Mason's not some things where it's like, bro, this is Sam Darnold. We're talking, like, I just can't go with it. And their whole argument was, well, we've seen enough of Sam Darnold, and we're like, well, it's still a small sample size just because of how often he's been out the lineup, whether it was injuries, whether it was mono, and then we obviously know what happened with Adam Gase leading him. Like, it was just a dumpster fire there. But we're like, how is that more than enough to see him? But you had a full, 14, 15 games of Mason. Now, obviously, he got, hurt at the end of the year. Or not, he didn't get hurt. That's when we did the whole flip-flop with him and Duck.
He did in the Jets game. That's actually when he looked the best.
Right, but it's just like, people saw that, and they're just like, oh, yeah, that's more than enough. And there's only how many handful of games there. To me, I don't really feel like Mason at this stage is better than Darnold in anything right now, man. I think that even the sample size, with Sam Darnold's sample size, you've seen more than enough to know that he is at least a competent NFL quarterback. And I think in a better situation, he can actually do good. But when you're playing with Adam Gase, we saw what it was looking like. And there's a reason why everybody on that roster was trying to get him out of there, man. So, yeah.
Those are fair points. Yeah, 3rd round pick.
Yeah, because that's what we were saying. But for my perspective and a lot of the other,
he's
analysts,
young too.
Yeah, very young.
Like some of those teams that are looking at quarterback early in the draft, maybe you're not going to get one of the top 2 or 3 guys. You got to take Trey Lance or like Mac Jones in that teen range. Dude, I mean, because Sam, he's probably only a year older than some of these guys.
Right, that's the thing. So when I think of it, I'm just like,
I can see the Patriots getting him or something like that.
Well, that's one of the teams that he was linked to as well. But for us, I'm just like, it doesn't make a lot of sense when you've already taken that flyer on Dwayne Haskins. It's the exact same situation, regardless of who you think is better at the time. Whichever one of them guys is better is marginally.
We didn't have to spend a 3rd round pick for Haskins either.
We got him for the cheap. So if I'm a team, I'm waiting for the Jets to cut him because I know they're gonna have to cut him. You know what I mean? Like,
you think?
Think about this.
Just because it's already out there.
It's already,
and now everyone's gonna be like, all right, let's not trade the 3rd.
So not even the
bump
trade,
the price down a little bit.
But not even the trade for Sam Darnold. If you're the Jets, this isn't a situation where you have veteran quarterback Ben Roethlisberger who you can have mentor a guy or change the guard. You got Sam Darnold who wants to be the franchise.
This is Bengals, Burrow, and Dalton.
Yeah. And you're talking about taking a guy. What they pick? What are they at 3? No, they're at 2. They're at 2. Yeah. So you think about you take a guy at 2, a quarterback at 2. there isn't a competition. There isn't a, hey, Darnold, we believe in you. Nah. All that goes out the window. So I don't think that they're going to be able to allow him to stay on that roster with this young guy that they're going to be drafting at 2 in that New York media market. You know that media market is going to
Bengals cut Dalton, right?
Yeah, they cut him outright. Yeah.
So yeah, it could be a very similar situation, or the price will just drop to maybe a 5th or 6th round pick.
Yeah, absolutely. But if I'm another team, I'm going to sit here and just wait. They're going to have to cut him. They got to cut him.
Got you.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting though.
That's interesting. Yeah, we don't gotta worry about that, dude. I got Ben slotted for like 2, 3, 4 more years. So like this is something. It's just like, okay, he'd come here, he'd be the backup.
Where's he going after this year? You said 2 or 3 more years. What team is he playing for next?
Come on, bro.
Seriously, come on, man. What are you talking about? What?
Ben's back.
Gonna play. He's coming back. I'm trying to figure out where though.
On a
like what team?
$20 million deal with the Steelers.
When?
After this season, yeah, he's gonna ball out this year, and then it's just gonna be like a Brady or Breeze deal. That they've been doing over the past couple of years. That's how I view it.
Okay.
So yeah, we don't need Darnold. Let's use the 3rd round pick.
Okay.
Draft a lineman. Maybe that's where we get Sermon or Kylan Hill or something like that.
Like I said, man, I would love Sermon. If we get Sermon in the 3rd round, if that's how we were doing it, I'm with it. I mean, like I said, I would love to get one of them higher end backs.
So you're thinking linebacker 1st round. Yeah. Zaven Collins.
Yeah. I would like Zaven
Owusu Koromoa.
I would like Zaven a lot. Yeah.
You like Zaven over Owusu Koromoa?
I think it's more personal preference. For me, I like Zaven's range a little bit more, but it just depends on what you're looking for. You know, this is the thing with us right now. Can you go wrong either way? Like,
no.
We need, you know what I mean? Like, it's a need there.
One of them will probably be drafted. Yeah. I'm assuming it'd be Owusu Koromoa.
Okay.
Based off some of these mocks. Yeah. But, you know, the mocks are wrong sometimes.
They're mocks. That's the purpose of mocks, right?
But if they're both there, you're leaning Zaven? I'm
going Zaven, yeah. I love that vibe. I think you pair him with Devin Bush, and we get what we wanted to have with Shazier and Bush. That's what you would have. And that solidifies you. That puts you in the Seattle Seahawks, where they had Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright for 10 years. That's what you get with that, where it's just dominant. That's Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly type. That's Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis type. It's different. I want that.
All of a sudden, the defense is shaping up a little bit.
And think about this. You bring Zaven in here, right? Athlete like that, you pair him with Devin Bush. Now, you might have some holes around you, but that type of athlete next to Devin Bush, yeah, you making up for a lot of that. But that's what we said, right? If you're going to do it the way the Steelers are doing it right now, in terms of, all right, we're going to try to make this thing work as best as possible, even though we got to cut some corners here or there, you got to have your star players play to that caliber. Devin Bush will excel if you have a guy like that next to him. Not saying that he's not going to still play well with Robert Spillane next to him or whoever else, plays next to him, but you could just see the difference. Think about Vince Williams. When Vince Williams played next to Lawrence Timmons, he looked one way, right? They both were still very similar in their styles of play, though, right? Not the most fleet-footed, not the best in terms of coverage. You put Vince next to Shazier, you saw how much better Vince game became. You saw when Vince went back to John Bostic, took a step back. Then you see Vince next to Devin Bush, play goes back up. Same thing gonna be with Devin Bush. Now, if you put him with Zaven Collins, just think about how dominant that's gonna look. That's gonna be freaky. So for me, that's what I want. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna get it, but that's what I want, baby.
I'm definitely not opposed. Definitely not opposed, because you could do that, and then lineman 2nd round,
absolutely,
and then running back 3rd or 4th round, like we just talked about.
And now we're good to go. Now I have something defensively that's gonna make up for whatever major holes we might still have remaining. I'm going to bank on Justin Lane or James Pierre really stepping up in a big way. And then from there, man, I'm going to rely on these picks and the things that we've been doing offensively in terms of bringing back Juju, in terms of re-signing Zach Banner, and hoping that, hey, man, him being more of the big road grader style run blocker, that can help out from that standpoint as well. You obviously know Dotson's coming in here. So from there, now you got a competitive team. Now you got a chance to make some noise. But like you said,
make some noise.
I hit him with yours right there, right? Yeah. That's the move, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping, at least.
Did I say that throughout the season?
You always say that, bro.
I don't remember saying making noise this season. I said it in 2019, though, for sure.
Gotta make some noise. And I was like, yo, what's make some noise mean? What does that mean?
After the Rams win, and then we went on that streak. Oh, can we make some noise in the playoffs? That was the noise.
Because that's when we went. That was the saying. We got to 8-5.
Yeah. And I was like, are we hitting our stride at the right time? I'm just throwing those cliches out there.
Because for you, it was always we could make some noise. We're hitting our shot at the right time. And then when it was with Buffalo, you're like, they ain't gonna really do that in the playoffs. They ain't gonna make no noise in the playoffs. I'm like, yo, what does make noise? What does make some noise mean? He said the same about the Titans. Man, they ain't gonna make no noise though. And he was like, all right, cool. But I'm with you now, man. So, yes, if these moves do happen, they can make some noise. I'll be excited about it.
Oh, yeah. More than noise, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, another guy that was in terms of free agency, and shout out to Donnie as well, man. He's keeping us, going in terms of some of these names and stuff like that. But Carl Joseph, former West Virginia alum. Shout out to my Mountaineer fans out there. Obviously, he's been around the league for a good little while now, man. But he's on a visit right now, right? He's able to come to Pittsburgh and check it out and things like that. We know with the Steelers, from my personal experiences and typically, everything that I've seen, anytime they bring a person in, they are, really high on them and they want to potentially get a deal done with them that day. So it's gonna be interesting to see if we get any new updates in terms of Carl Joseph and him potentially being here. But I like it though. I do think that, man, this is another veteran player that could come in and help us. He's a piece that you would like to have. And we talked about in terms of if we want to move a guy potentially into the box, right? You brought up Terrell Edmonds a couple of times, right?
I always do, yeah.
Well, if you have a guy like Carl Joseph back there, now you have a little bit more flexibility to do something like that, right? Or even vice versa, but you still have that luxury if he's there. This reminds me of the Morgan Burnett signing if they do go ahead and make this deal happen. Now, granted, I think it's going to be a lot less money than what we signed Morgan Burnett for when we did that deal, but I can see a similar scenario where you bring in a veteran guy like this who, in a year where you don't have the most cap flexibility and you don't want to have a ton of bills coming up next year and so forth, a guy like Carl Joseph is a good quality signer that can come in here and produce at a high level and ultimately fit right into what you're trying to do defensively.
I know you were high on Sean Davis. How would Joseph potentially fit better than him?
So this is the thing with Sean Davis, athletically, man, special. But we said, man, from above the neck standpoint, he has struggled a little bit. And I thought that it was more so due to him switching positions so frequently his first couple of years. He never got a chance to get that foundation and base under him. Carl already has a foundation and base. Carl has lasted in this league for a while. Carl is a very intelligent player, and that, helps his game out a lot. So the reason I like him in that role, regardless if you're bringing him back to play, in terms of strong, or if you want to put him in that box as that pseudo extra linebacker, mentally he's capable of it. He's been around long enough to do that. Now, I think in terms of the negotiation, that might be the sticking point, right? Are you interested in doing something like that? Because we said not everybody's interested. Morgan Burnett was a prime example. As soon as he found out that's what they wanted him to do full time, he was like, nah, get me up out of here. And then he went over to Cleveland, right? So with Carl, it could be a similar situation. But if he is open to that, I like that. Or even if he's open to him coming here and Terrell Edmonds is open to moving in that box, any combination of that, I like, because you just can't have enough of those good players like that, good veteran players who understand how to operate, who understand how to work, who understand the highs and lows of the season and how to ultimately be successful and stuff like that.
Sure. I'm 100% for it too. Yeah, I don't really have too much to add from that outside of, like you said, the depth and some of that versatility that could potentially bring to the table. And if he's going to be on the field a little bit more than Sean Davis, then I think it's only going to benefit us then.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And like I said, with Sean Davis, obviously he signed with the Colts. I think it was today, right?
Yeah, he did.
It was today, yeah. So obviously he's not going to be back here, but I just think that Carl, man, that could be an upgrade, especially for the defense. Now, Carl's not going to give you the special teams value. Now, granted, Sean Davis didn't give you a lot of that either, but Sean was at least participating on special teams last year. So that's another thing that just, a little telltale, little caveat to see would he or would he not and stuff like that, though.
Yeah, he played a fair amount for the Browns down the stretch. You've seen 100% of snaps, 59%, 85, 91. And in the playoffs, 80 and 76. Had the pick against the Chiefs. Yeah. What's not to like then? If we could get him for a million or two on a one-year deal.
And you think about this, not only is it a good pickup for you, but you're doing what to the division? You're taking an asset away from a division opponent. You talk about the amount of snaps he played and the productivity that was there. That they're gonna miss that. Now, granted, the Browns are doing some movement themselves and they're making sure they put together a pretty nice roster right now. But anytime you're able to get productive players from within the division, you're weakening your opponent and strengthening yourself.
Yeah, give us a little inside scoop on things too.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is the Browns though, right? I mean, so who cares about the inside scoop? Browns is the Browns. That's what I keep hearing. So who's worried? I'm not tripping if you're not tripping.
I'm not worried about the Browns this year. We've talked about this. I'm not worried about them this year.
I mean, I'm tripping, but I'm not tripping. Yeah.
I'm not. I think they're gonna be all hype.
I hope you're right. I need one of those all hype years because last year I didn't enjoy how successful they were. I don't like when they're successful at our expense.
Little lucky stretch. It's fine.
Lucky? I thought it was bad luck.
Huh?
I thought they had the bad luck.
they had the luck against us, but then bad luck against the Chiefs. That's hard to say because Mahomes went out in the third quarter. They really had their opportunity. They had a chance. 5 minutes left. They had the ball.
Oh man, it's bad luck, man.
They had the ball. They could have taken care of business. They just didn't.
Man, it don't matter. It's just bad luck. Just leave it to bad luck, and we leave it at that.
No, I can't do that. I can't do that.
We not leaving on a high note when it comes to them.
They got lucky. That's what I'm saying.
Like I said, I just hope you're right going forward, man.
Sure.
All right, so you got any hot topics right now?
Oh man, the one was Carl Joseph.
Yeah.
Do you have any? I do have one though.
Here we go. What you got?
I don't think this is that hot of a topic. This is just more or less along the same lines that we've been talking about here with these free agent signings. People are high on this dude.
What Deke got for us?
You talk about Chuba Hubbard with his 40 speed.
Yeah, 4.36, right?
So we just picked up a dude, Matthew Sexton.
Oh, yeah.
From, I don't even know the college. Is it Eastern Michigan?
I'm about to say, because I know I'm going to butcher it.
I think that's
I'm not going to lie to you real quick. Hold on.
But we have 4 solid receivers on actually 5 because we signed Ray McLeod. So,
yeah, Eastern Michigan, that's what it is.
So with this, people are weirdly excited about this because they think maybe he could be a return man.
They said low 4.3s.
Yeah.
Low 4.3. Ooh,
if you watch some of his highlights too, I was checking him out before I came over.
He's a blazer?
He was burning dudes, and the quarterback on the team just underthrew him literally every time.
No!
Every time. So he had some combat catches too.
All right, so my question is this then. Is this like a Johnny Holton situation where you just sit him down and fill some vertical? Is that what you're telling me? Like, what's going on, man?
I don't know if he's making the roster. I just feel like some of these signings are just like last year with some of those XFL players.
Yeah.
Bringing dudes in, some competition. Maybe you could get on the team, have some type of role. Because I don't see us cutting Ray McLeod. So
not after what he was doing.
Are we keeping 6 receivers and then he's some type of return specialist, but then that takes away from Ray McLeod?
Right.
And so I don't know. Maybe he could be practice squad, and then you just develop him along.
That's another thing, and we hardly talk practice squad, right? But that is an option. The thing that I still struggle with to this day is, and it's not a bad thing because it is giving guys opportunities. And from the player's perspective, it does make sense. But from a business perspective, this is where I have my issues. When the teams go out and they spend money on guys that, he worked out at this pro day. And it's like, well, he didn't play anywhere last year, but here he is working out. He ran, he looked fast. Let's bring him on and let's sign him. I was just like, I would much rather, find a guy that was on somebody else's practice squad and sign them to my active roster. I'd rather sign somebody that was at least in NFL stadiums, unless they are coming out of college this year. I'm talking about the guys that have been 1 or more year removed. They just come back and work out at somebody's pro day, and then we're like, oh yeah, bring him on in. Yeah, I think it looks good. Like, that's the part where I always feel a little just like, man, I don't like that move. Now, can you get a surprise from there? Sure you can.
Never know.
You never know. But as a whole, I just feel like, I don't know, I would like to dig in a different barrel of options if I'm trying to, turn those tires on every resource. I just think I would much rather find somebody that was on somebody's roster playing ball in the NFL last year.
Well, what did these signings do towards our cap?
I mean, right now, they still cost, but it's going to be for their minimum. So whatever the minimum is for those guys based on their years, so they would still have rookie qualification. So obviously, whatever, I think rookie salary is high 400,000s or whatever. So it's not going to kill you, but you do enough of them, it adds up, right?
I swear we signed 3 or 4.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You signed 3 of them, you do the math on it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I don't like that. Wait,
I don't either.
We're not paying that up front, are we?
No.
Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah.
But it goes against the cap.
Count. Yeah, it will count. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because right now we all have to be cap compliant right now. So yeah, we're all still under the cap. It's counting on the cap. Though it's no different than when we signed PJ Finney, right? Or when we re-signed Juju. It all counts on that cap. As long as you sign these guys, it counts.
So it's $400K if they stick on the roster.
$400K right now. They don't get the money right now.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But on the cap right now, yeah.
On the
but if
cap.
they make the roster, then they would get $400K over 117 or whatever the $400,000 amount.
What do they get now? Like 25, 30K or something like that?
No. These guys don't get signing bonuses. Nah.
Okay. No. They're getting paid something though, right?
No, not right now.
Really?
When they show up to OTAs, they'll get the.
So when we release them though, we still have this cap hit.
No, because it's not guaranteed money. Think about right now, right? We have however many guys on the roster. Okay. We know when the season starts, we have to cut it down to 55, right? Right now, we're over that limit. but it still has to be compliant with the cap. So even though the numbers are compliant within the cap right now, it doesn't necessarily mean that those guys are getting that money right now. They start getting that because the way NFL contracts work, you don't see your contract money until the season starts unless you have roster bonus, workout bonus, which 90% of the roster is not going to have that. That's for just like special situations where you don't want to have this guy only get signing bonus. So it's like, all right, he'll get $10 million in signing bonus. We'll do another $2 million in roster bonus and another $3 million in roster bonus the following year, or workout bonus, just to spread it out. This level of signing, you don't need to do that right there. So for them, it's literally more so just, hey, you want to come here? All right, cool. We're going to sign you for X amount of money. You're not getting any money up front. The only money you're getting during the offseason is your like NFLPA negotiated like stipend for coming in to work out. It's an already agreed upon number just based on how many years you've been in the league. And that's all you're getting in the offseason. Even when I played, like I didn't get any of my big money until the season hit. That's when I started getting in the nice checks. But during the offseason, it's scaled on wherever, you know, in terms of how many years you've been in the league. So it's not a ton of money for them up front. They're not seeing anything. And for the team, it's more so just the paperwork of these guys count on the cap right now. Now, once you cut them, it's different. They go off the cap because that money hasn't been paid.
Tomorrow, hey, we want to free up $1.5 million.
Right.
We could just cut these guys.
Correct. Now, typically they don't do that.
Right.
Typically, which to me, that's why I'm just like, why would I, spend that 1 point whatever on those three guys?
Bringing Jesse James. What the hell's going on?
Exactly. So
what are we doing?
You see what I mean? So that's why I say I always have my issues, because it's like I would much rather spend a little bit more on a guy like that versus turning the tires on a couple of these $400,000, $500,000 level signings, but they add up.
Yeah, what the hell are we doing? We just laid it out with this receiver. He's the sixth guy right now. He's the sixth guy. This isn't something we need. And the four guys that we have, I mean, even McLeod, man, like he could be a difference maker when he's on the field, but the four starting receivers, like our four main guys, like those are pretty damn good receivers. It's not like he's going to be I would be pissed if any of them got off the field and this dude came in at some point. You know what I mean?
I agree with that, man.
What the hell are we doing, dude?
Yeah.
I'm getting pissed.
But it is what it is, man. But and I will say, I'd have to look to see if they did a futures deal. The futures deal is what we typically have signed when you talk about guys that are practice squad guys, right? As soon as the season ends, signed to, you see like futures or reserve, right? Futures reserve. Those contracts don't count. Now, if these are future contracts, cool. They won't count right now. We'll be good. But if they're just like Kalen Ballage and Rashaad Coward, they will count right now because those aren't future contracts. So that's the difference. Now, I don't know if those details are out just yet. Typically, they don't release that soon.
Okay.
But if they are future contracts, that could be a different scenario.
I got this from the Post-Gazette, so let me just scroll through it real quick. Signed with the Steelers to join their offseason roster because we also picked up a dude from Georgia, Tyler Simmons, another receiver.
Because he was at their pro day.
I mean, the likelihood of these two receivers of making the roster, it's really slim.
So does it say
we need a second tight end, though, I'll tell you that.
Does it say futures? Because if it's a futures contract, we're good. If they just sign into a regular one-year deal that's not a futures contract, that money does count in the cap.
It doesn't say. Okay. It just says signed to the team. And then it just
goes.
See them, then it just goes through his accolades.
Yeah.
About a 3-paragraph article.
Thoughts on the Wormley re-sign, though, man? What about him?
Wormley?
Yeah. Remember when he re-signed?
Yeah, wait, didn't we talk about that?
Yeah, but I was just saying, like, now here we are a week later. Does that change your perspective on the money? Because think about back then, Tyson wasn't back either.
True.
So that's another guy I'm just kind of looking at like,
oh yeah, definitely.
I would like to use that money elsewhere too, right?
I agree, definitely. I wouldn't have re-signed him if I knew Tyson was coming back.
Yeah.
Because it's not that much money. I think it's a $1.5 million or $1.4 million, but
in terms of the cap hit, because I think he was supposed to get like
how much is he going to be playing? I mean, maybe he'll just give Cam Hayward or Stephon Tuitt.
So it was funny. So I went back and looked, because obviously I was doing the Tyson film breakdown, and I would watch to see how often Tyson would rotate to be that third D lineman between Tuitt and Cam, because we know Tyson's the starting nose, but when we go sub ball, whenever one of those guys come off, who goes on first? A lot of the times it was Tyson. So it wasn't even Wormley being the first man off the bench to come in and sub for those guys. So I'm just like, that when I just see the other needs, that's another. I'm just like, could that have went to a tight end? You know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
So those are some of the things they just keep. That's why you see how my tone always is weird when it comes to our free agency this offseason, because it's things where like, I don't like that move. We could have, even though it was, I understand it, it's a better move that we could have made, a more impactful move.
Yeah, I would have rather signed Le'Veon Bell or Adrian Peterson than Ballage. And then in this case, could we have spent that money on Jesse James? You couldn't have known that Tyson was going to come back, though.
True. That was as much as we love to think that we knew this.
He agreed with the Jaguars. So, yeah, we just kind of got unlucky with that. That's really what it comes down to.
Unlucky and then lucky at the same time.
Yeah, I guess so.
But can we renege, though? Since Tyson said he agreed in principle and changed his mind, can we change our mind with Wormley? Or did he already sign it?
I think he signed. He didn't have COVID. That's the thing. Yeah. He probably came in the building and signed it.
Well, yeah, it was on the website. Once he gets the website, it's over. Ink is dry. But I'm not opposed to it, though, man. Like I said, it shores up
the depth. It's not the end of the world.
It's just one of those things where, is it a good signing? Sure. But could it have been a better signing? Yes. And I think that's the point we're trying to hit here. Not saying that it's anything against Wormley himself or anything against Ballage or Coward. It's just like, hey, we probably could have used this money a little bit.
You're high on Coward, though.
I do like Coward. I like his signing. Like
you would do that no matter what.
Yeah, of the three, he's the one that I like his signing the most. Obviously, Wormley is more hindsight 2020 because Tyson has come back now. I don't like that signing at all. And then with Kalen, it's just kind of like, I'm with you. I'd rather brought in one of these other guys, an L. Bell type, right? Or even, and we're not even saying that they have to be the guy. I'm not even saying that we still went and draft the guy, because I said that last time we talked about L. Bell. But I'm just like, if we're going to bring in a guy to bring competition and things like that, can I at least get a higher end guy, you know? Because the money was going to be similar. That's my thing, too. It's not like we were going to have to pay L. Bell some crazy millions. Like, them days are over. It would have been very similar to minimums or 1 to 2 tops, you know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is right now for his market. I feel like we could have done that. I feel like we should have done that.
I agree.
And then you still would have the flexibility to draft whatever running back you want, and now you have a very good running back room.
It's nothing against Ballage. Yeah. It's nothing against him. I just think there were some better moves to be made.
We'll see, though, man.
Yeah.
Time will tell, right? Time will tell. We got
some people are high. Some people are really high on him for whatever reason, which I get. I mean, some of his highlights and stuff, it looks like he could be a pretty solid all around back. But you would just hope there'd be a little bit more in his first 3 seasons.
This is my thing, and I think I've said this to you a couple times now. Once you start getting into second, third, going in that 4th year, and you haven't like consistently stuck somewhere, like, that's where I'm just kind of like, all right, maybe this one team they didn't know how to use you. Okay, maybe it was a bad situation here, but I'm just like, you haven't had a lot of continuity, so it's something about your game that these coaches are seeing daily where they're just not willing to commit to him long term. I don't know what it is. Even last year, we talk about him in the Chargers, but he was cut earlier in the year. That's the thing we forget. It's like, he wasn't this guy where it was just, dominance from start to finish or played here for multiple years. So that's my thing. I'm just like, I don't like that as much, man.
Or maybe it's all these teams see his potential. They're like, oh, that team's using him wrong.
Right, but think about this. If everybody's seeing his potential, you mean to tell me it's the NFL coaches that don't know how to use the player? Or it's the player that can't play at this level with these NFL coaches? Like,
you got to think, first 2 teams, Dolphins, Jets, and then the Chargers had a bad line. So you can see why people are a little excited. I'm not going that far on this one. I'm really not.
Either, man.
Because I just rather have Bell. Like, I don't care. You could say all this stuff. It's like, cool. I'd rather have Bell.
Bell is a higher pedigree guy, and like we said, it still wouldn't cost you a lot. It wouldn't cost you a lot. Now, obviously, you would have to go through the whole, well, how does it look him coming back? And another guy we've talked about, in terms of just jokingly about, well, what would it like if they return? I gave you the hypothetical, would you rather Martavis return or AB return? Like, just jokingly. L. Bell, I don't think he's in the conversation like those two guys in terms of, man, is it eggshells when they come back? Is it cool when they come back? I think with L. Bell would have been serious.
Weren't we trying to trade for Bell in 2019? He said it on his podcast.
He did
or something
say
like
that. Yeah, he said the Steelers were interested. Yeah.
Yeah, it was when we had Mason and Doc, and we were just going through a lot of turmoil.
We did. Yes. Ooh. So
I don't think there's any hard feelings there.
I don't have any hard feelings for him. Do you have hard feelings?
No.
Hey, do y'all have hard feelings for him in the comment section?
Dude, some people don't like Bell.
Yeah, you're right. Some people don't like
I bring up Bell a lot in some of these recent videos where I'm like, I just want to sign Bell. Like, why don't we sign Bell? He'd be only $2 million, $3 million. People come at me, man. Bell's washed. Get over it. Let's see.
Bell is probably still mad his locker room got robbed. Hey, Thaddeus, you might be right. People did. They did. Yeah, they did. I'm still sick about the Fournette one, though. That's the one I wanted. Sure. That's like the one that got away. It's like man, we had a chance the first go around. Had a chance the second go around. God, dog. Like, who we going with? That's the one. That would have solved all this. We wouldn't be having these conversations right now, man.
No, we wanted Ballage though.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Here we go. I love Bell. Nope. Bring Bell back. Lev was my first jersey. All right.
It is a mixed bag. There are some people that are definitely for it, but then other people are just like, get out of here, you're crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely mixed in here. I'm reading through them like, yep, ton of 50-50. For every one good comment, it's another bad comment about him. So, yeah, but it's like that because I think also, and we run into this a lot, right? When it comes to high-end players like him or guys who used to be very high-end, the nostalgia element of it. Even though we know he has declined, and I think that anybody that watched him can see that, we still always fall in love with the memories of what he did when he was here. And we always feel like, well, hey, I want to see, can we tap back into that? Because if we can, we know how special it can be. Now, not everybody's as optimistic now. Some people feel like, hey, man, them days are long gone. It's never going to come back. But you still have the other faction like you. And to me, to an extent, that feels like, hey, in the right situation, he could be successful. Now, the bigger concern to me, though, and I said this when we talked about L. Bell last time, our O-line. His style with this offensive line, as it's currently constructed, does not mesh. It's round peg. It's round. It's circle trying to go into a square right there. It just doesn't fit right there because we know he needs great offensive linemen or at least high level play from the offensive line. And right now, we haven't been able to give that. And we're going to be potentially going out there with less talent this year compared to the years past. I don't think that L. Bell's style from a running standpoint would fit in this. Now, receiving, I love it. Pass protection, I love it. But him and his running style, I just don't see it fitting well here, man.
The Chiefs O-line was pretty bad.
No. The Chiefs O-line was not pretty bad. They got bad once they got banged up. When Mitchell Schwartz went out, then once their left guard went out, then once the left tackle, Eric Fisher, went out, when their line got bad. Their O-line was good this year, man.
I thought Bell made some people miss, man.
No, he still makes people miss, without a doubt.
I don't think they used him enough. And he only played 2 games. He only played 2 games with the Jets. His second game with the Jets was actually pretty good against the Cardinals. Yeah. He averaged over 4 yards per carry. I still think he has it. I really do. Based off what I've seen.
Was it the Bills game this year where he had the nice catch? He pulled the hammy, right? Was that this year or was that last year when he had the hammy injury?
He had a really nice catch in the first game of this season. I think it was.
That was a good. Okay, that was because he hurt his hammy.
It was like a 30-yard catch.
Yeah, because I remember he hurt his hammy because the linebacker pulled him when he was running earlier in the game. He was running, linebacker pulled him and he pulled his hammy that way. But I do remember that was a big catch in the game. He still has that, and that was him doing that after the hammy already happened. So I'm like, if you can do that with the janky hammy, I like you when you're fully healthy, baby.
Like, I watched the play of Ballage where he's trying to break down a linebacker, do like a little slant route across the middle, and he got held up. I think it might have been pass interference, but I also saw a play with Bell. He was doing the same thing. Just makes the linebacker look completely foolish.
Absolutely, man.
So just based off that, I'm like, come on, bro. What are we doing?
Now, what are your thoughts on James Conner, though? He's still available right now.
Yeah, I see people are talking about that. They're trying
in the comment section.
They're trying to pull the April Fool's pranks with this. Yeah. I've been seeing James Conner signs on a 2-year deal.
I saw it with AB, too. I'm like,
did you fall for anything? I fell for something last night, like past midnight. Nah. Because I didn't know it switched. Look, it wasn't Conner. I'll tell you what it was.
So the only situation I've had so far with April Fools, because it's like as soon as April Fools hit, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not looking at any reports. I don't believe anything y'all posted from anybody. But this morning, me and my daughter, I always take her, she's working on her hoops and stuff, right? And she texts me this morning, and she's like, Dad, are we still going to hoop today? It's snowing outside. I'm like, yo, leave me alone, bro. Like, I'm trying to sleep. Like, we going to get up in a little bit. Like, stop playing with me. She's like, no, Dad, for real, it's snowing. So now I'm like, yo, you really trying to wake me up and get a little, hey, stop. I'm a grown man. I'm Dad. Like, yo, I know it's April Fool's. Stop playing. She's like, no, seriously, Dad. I look out the window. I'm like, oh, wow. It's like snowing, legit. So, yes. But other than that, I don't mess with the April Fools, man. And I'm glad I didn't get April Fool right there. But that was my only, interaction with the April Fools thing thus far today.
Someone got me good on Instagram.
Oh, man. What they do? What happened, man?
It was just like an NFL account. And they do their graphics really good, so it looks so official. It looks so official.
Don't fall for it.
And it was somewhat realistic. It was like Khalil Mack from the Bears, a couple picks to the Falcons for Matt Ryan. Mm-hmm. They got me. Because I went straight to Twitter. I went straight to ESPN. I'm like, oh, wow, did this happen? This is crazy. And then, that was when I became cynical the rest of the day.
Yeah, I'm not touching anything. I don't believe it. Even the Michael Strahan, he got the guy. I don't believe any of it. I don't believe nothing that's going on these next until what? Yeah, however many more hours left in this day.
Dude, these people in my Twitch stream, subscribers and stuff,
Yeah.
they've got me a couple times, even outside of April Fools.
Yeah.
They told me the Steelers signed Marcus Mariota.
That's cold-blooded,
Oh,
man.
it was terrible. I'm like, get out of here with this crap. There's no way. But then like everyone's like, no, it happened. And then the other one was the Steelers released James Washington. They got me. Like, they got me. Like, it's bad.
The problem
man.
is realistic enough where it would have been like, would we be upset? Yes, but it's like, whoa, when they brought back Juju, when you look at Deontay and Clay, okay, maybe they didn't want to invest in him. They would have given him an opportunity to get on somewhere else. I personally would trade him before I release him.
It still wouldn't make sense, though, just because of his contract's not that bad.
Yeah.
And who else are you going to bring in to replace him? Just having that depth is big time in case one of our top 3 receivers gets hurt.
I said I would much rather have traded him if I was going to go with he got traded, not released. But either way, man, this is why I don't like April Fools. I don't trust it. I don't trust it, man.
They give me, man.
Trying to think, any other hot topics you got, man?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. Wait, did you want to talk about the James Conner one, though?
Yeah, I'm down for it. Absolutely.
I know people were talking about it as an April Fool's thing, but, I mean, some people are thinking it could be realistic.
In terms of him coming back, would it make sense?
It does make sense.
It does, but it doesn't. It does in the sense of, the familiarity, and James is still a good back.
And just football-wise, that's probably the best way to put it. Yeah.
But to me, it doesn't make sense because, number one, you're bringing him back to the same situation from an offensive lineman standpoint, and we know he struggled when that offensive line didn't, do what they were supposed to do up front. And I don't know if he's going to be capable of changing that right now without dealing with another potential injury. And we just know the track record with him as it pertains to that. It's one of those things, even if it's nothing serious this year, as soon as he pops on the injury report, we already know the perception. We already know what that's going to feel like for him and for us. I just think change the scenery. But we have to remember that, like I said, James is still a good back. So upgrading him, you have to draft a guy earlier. You're not going to be able to find a guy that's better than James Conner going for the 2021 season in round 4, 5, 6, or 7, or in undrafted. I personally don't think you're going to find that guy. Will you find a guy that could be a part of a committee? Sure. But I don't think you're going to find a guy better than James Conner that late. Which is why, for me, I'm saying they got to do, if they're going to go running back, 2nd, 3rd round, at worst. If they can surprise us and do it in the 1st round, great. But I just don't think they're going to do that. But that's my thing, because people really look at James, and it's kind of similar to how they view Mason to an extent, in terms of how good you think he is, right? Some people think he's really good, some people think he's really bad. James, some people think he's really good, still has something left. Some people think that, man, he's too beat up, he's too banged up, he doesn't have it anymore. I think that James is on the other side. I think that he still can get it done, but he has to be in the right situation, and he has to have a really good offensive line in front of him. And right now, we know that our offensive line is probably going to be the weakest position group on offense for us. Like that's what I'm thinking right now. So if that's the case, we're going to need some action at back. We're going to need some action in that running back field. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense football-wise.
It does. And cost-wise, it's not going to be expensive. I mean, you think Philip Lindsay signed for what? 2? Was it? No, it was up to 3 or 4 with incentives, but I think he's going to get around 2 initially. Yeah, James is not going to get more than that. So, yeah.
But it just feels like it's over, though.
Yeah, when you bring in Kalen, I just don't see the purpose of you bringing back James right now, because, I mean, can't we say some of the things about Kalen? You already said it, right? Bigger back, shows some, ability in terms of receiving, has been a little bit elusive. You can see if he could put it together, he could be really good, right? He could be a feature guy. We say some of the things about James, even though James has shown a lot more in terms of productivity and stability of lately because of the injuries, because of the lack of availability. The conversation is always when healthy. We always have to throw that caveat. When he's available, when he's good to go 100%, we know what we get from him. But typically, we don't get that as often lately.
Yeah. I just don't think it's happening. I'm not opposed to it. I think if it does happen, or if we did re-sign him, part of me is just like, man, again, like you said, like the moment he gets hurt, it's just gonna feel like
like we've been here before.
We're just doing the carousel.
Yeah. And now I had so Mr. Smoot, shout out to Mr. Smoot. He says he would take L. Bell over James Conner right now. Easily. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, easily.
Okay.
I would have done it last year too. Yeah.
For me, it's weird. If I got healthy James Conner in 2021, I like healthy James Conner over L. Bell right now. But I feel like James is never gonna be healthy James Conner anymore. And that for me makes me lean more towards L. Bell because their roles, what they would have in Pittsburgh, would be similar in terms of not being the feature, being a big part of a rotation, being the number 2 guy. You know what I mean? And I just think that L. Bell would thrive in that role a lot more than Connor, just because he's going to be more available. I mean, you think about L. Bell. I know early on he dealt with injuries, but he is still a durable guy. He still plays through stuff. You know what I mean? He and when he's out there, he doesn't look he's laboring. Whereas like with James, even though he's come and played in a lot of games, we know he's injured going into them, and he looks like that. He won't finish. He'll only play a quarter of it. You know what I mean? So that to me is the reason why, like, if it was how we're picking it, and all things are equal, if everything is healthy, everything's equal, I'll go James. But knowing that it's probably never going to get back to that, L. Bell does make more sense.
Yeah, I'm with you on Bell for sure.
And the money still would be the same for both of those guys.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. I'm trying to see, man. Any other hot topics we got going on in here?
Yeah, I'm good on my end. I got nothing.
Yeah. All right. Think we good. Think we are good. Yeah, it's a ton of chatter going on in the comment section. They're asking about Jarrett Patterson. We would be interested in the fifth, taking him in the 5th, potentially out of Buffalo. I think he would be a steal. I'm not too familiar with Jarrett Patterson. Actually, I remember UB had a nice back. Was that last year? I gotta remember. It was one of these games where it was like a Thursday night MAC game.
Okay.
Cat goes for like 200-300 yards. It was like some crazy stuff. I want to know, is that this guy though? Check him out real quick.
I'll check.
Yeah, Jarrett is Jarrett Patterson. I want to know if that's the guy to UB, because if it is, that would be intriguing. Because he went. It was one of these games that UB running back went nuts last year, man.
Last year, not 2019.
I think it was last year. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Buffalo running back. Game logs 2020. See what we got.
Anything crazy up there?
Oh, holy shit! He's got.
Is that the guy?
He's got 2.
Okay, that is the guy. Then
This isn't a real stat line.
No, seriously,
these aren't real.
He went for like 400 yards in the game or something, right?
Dude, no. Well, here's 2.
Was it crazy?
I'll say the first one. 31 attempts, 301 yards. No, this isn't even the game. No, this isn't even the game.
That's not the game. Oh my gosh.
301 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Okay. Yo.
Week 4.
Let's go.
36 attempts, 409 yards, 8 touchdowns.
That's the one.
That's not real.
Hey, yo, I promise you, man. Hey, shout out. Where you at, Ethan? Yes, shout out to you for that, man. That's the dude. Yeah, I do like him a lot. He is very intriguing. The reason, so obviously I watch UB football every once in a while because of the whole connection. Obviously,
okay.
I did one of my internships at the University of Buffalo in their athletic department.
Okay.
But, man, I remember it was like a random Thursday game, and I'm just like, yo, who is this dude? Like, it was crazy. Yeah, I was. That could be very intriguing.
When do you say 5th round?
5th, yeah, because he's not going to be. I don't think he's a high pedigree guy in terms of teams taking that chance on because he played in the MAC, because he played at Buffalo. But he is definitely a guy that I'm not opposed to taking a flyer on. That type of productivity. I mean, gosh, it reminds me that those 2 games that he had where he went crazy reminds me of Javonte Williams and Michael Carter in terms of when people went crazy on them after their game against Miami. Like, he had one of those, but you see the extent that he did it. It was just nuts. Like, when you get that type of stuff, that's when you start seeing it's less about who he's going against. That's just dominance. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, if you're playing against MAC competition, but you're supposed to be at a SEC or ACC school, make it look like that. If you're this good guy, right? Because that's one thing I would always tell myself at JMU. If I truly believe that I should be at a SEC or ACC school, I need to go out here and every week show that. And obviously my numbers reflected that. But seeing Jarrett, man, I like it. I'm not going to lie. I like it a lot.
So I got I'm just literally watching some of his highlights right now. He looks like Maurice Jones-Drew.
No, it's legit. It's legit. Yes, indeed. It's legit, man.
People are saying in the comments, Heisman finalist.
No, he went crazy.
Title says most underrated running back in the country.
I definitely remember him now, man.
Could he be better than Connor?
I definitely remember him. I don't know if he'll be better, but he's intriguing, though. I definitely remember him out of Buffalo, though.
Would you take that chance, that upside play?
Yeah, because you're talking about a late round draft pick. We're talking, bringing
as
him
a
in
potential starter, though.
Because
if let's just say we draft him, we pass on all the other running backs. So it would be between him, Snell, Ballage, McFarland.
This is my thing. I don't think they pass on bringing in a guy that they think could be the bell cow or the face of that group to take a flyer on a guy in the 5th or 6th round out the MAC. That's typically not how you do business right there. Like, I like him regardless of if you take any of those other backs early on. I think that you take him in the 5th or even if he's during the 6th, that's a great flyer to bring in. If he could come in and surprise you,
21 years
Morris,
old too.
Great. Yeah.
Holy, yeah, he's 21 going into this season.
Right. He's young.
His birthday was 99, December 23rd, so he just turned 21.
Yeah, so for me, I'm like, so that's why for me, I'm like, if you can get him late in the draft, absolutely, that's a great piece because number one, you're gonna have the special teams value. He brings that, he's an athlete. But number two, if he is able to surprise you and crack that lineup and be, better than what we think he could be at this level, well, that's a great pick. That's a steal. But you see some of the stuff already popping. You watch the highlights right there. It jumps out. It jumps out, man.
He looks like Maurice Jones-Drew. 5'9".
Yep.
I'm all about it now. This dude brought it up. Now I'm about it. I'm all about it,
man. I totally forgot, but I remember watching that during the season, man. During the season, I watched him. And I was like, yo, this game with I remember because when I cut it on, I thought like you. I'm like, yo, it's a misprint. And the ESPN analyst, the color commentator guy, he kept saying, ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking at your screen, you know how the commentators do. If you're looking at your screen, I promise you, this is not an error. This guy is going crazy right now. He's just scoring at will. He's getting these yards. And I'm just like, yo, they have to keep saying it because every time you look, it's just like, you're lying. Like, stop lying to me. He's not doing this right now. And it's like, no, yes, he is, bro.
Well, that's what actually Kalen Ballage did in college, too. He had an 8-touchdown game with AZ State. So I was watching the highlights. It actually was up against Mahomes when he was on Texas Tech. It was a hell of a game. But what this dude did, Patterson, compared to Ballage's were all like wildcat plays up against the goal line. I think 4 or 5 touchdowns were literally that. Just like probably 5 yards.
This dude was scoring from out.
Yeah. Probably he had a total of over 100 yards, so over 100 yards, 8 touchdowns. But dude, he had 409 yards and 8 touchdowns.
my man ran for a couple of miles in the game. Like that's nuts. But I like it though, man. Yeah, he's definitely a guy that I would.
He's on my radar. He's on my radar now.
He got my vote.
I'm good with it. Honestly, I'm good with going all risk and just saying he's our number 1 next year.
See, I'm not ready to go there. That's the duality of us, though. The duality of man right here. You got me. I'm a little more reserved with it. Like I like him, high on him, but take him with caution.
If we don't take Harris or Etienne, or we pass up on Hill or Sermon or Hubbard. So honestly, basically any running back we take is our RB1.
So we can just take him in the 4th round. Everybody say we're reaching, and then we'll be ahead of the curve. We'll be good.
I think anyone we pick in this draft is going to be probably my RB1. I'm going to be pushing for the RB1.
Okay.
Because right now, I'm not feeling too good about anyone on the roster. So if we draft someone, I think that's going to be where the hype train's going.
I like them as long as they're in the top 3 rounds. If they're in the top 3 rounds, they're RB1 to me. Anybody after that.
You think Sermon, though, Hill, maybe Hubbard, they would have that potential.
Yeah, but I also think that if we are on the board and we haven't taken a running back by that 3rd round, we're gonna jump in and get one of those guys. I don't see us going past that to get our feature guy.
Okay.
If they don't get him in those top 3 rounds, just looking at it as it's gonna be a rotation. No bell cow. Even though Coach Tomlin talks about one bell cow, multiple guys are gonna get opportunities to be the feature. That's how I look at it. I just don't think they're gonna do that. But I mean, when you just look at from a historical standpoint, you get a ton of value at that running back spot in the 2nd round. That's the sweet spot for running backs. We know you get your 1st round talents, and a lot of those guys are great. We get this, but it's a ton of value in terms of those 2nd round running backs. All pros out of there. A lot of consistency out of there. A lot of Pro Bowls out of there. Once you pass that 2nd round, it's hit or miss. For every one Phillip Lindsay, we can name a ton of Trent Richardsons, right? For every one of this guy, we can name a ton of these other guys who didn't have success. And that's the name that I just don't like that crapshoot like that. We always talk about, you can find a running back anywhere. Remember, I joked about it even last year. I was like, well, in the past 2 years, I'm like, we always say you can find a running back anywhere, but we can't seem to find a running back. Why is that? So to me,
we had one. Well, Connor in the 4th round, like he was solid, but now he's just hurt all the time. Like we did pretty decent, I think, these past couple years. I think we were way worse, like back in the early 2010s. We were terrible.
To me, it's a matter of perspective, right? Because to me, I think that we have been terrible on the ground right now, but that's because we're coming off of what happened under L. Bell's time here. When L. Bell was here, the running room was great looking. You know what I mean? Even when he went out and D'Angelo came in. But then literally you get James doing that for one season, that first year where he got the opportunity to start, and after that, it really has never came back close to that. And that to me is like, man, all right, we've tried it the route of, all right, we can get a guy in the fourth, we'll get a guy in the third. Because remember, Connor was a third round pick as well. But it's like,
Was he fourth or third?
No, he was third. He was third. He was
You
three,
announced it. You would know.
He was 3A and then Cam Sutton was 3B. Those are my two picks. And I'm like, both of my guys had success. One guy's a Pro Bowler, the other guy's a second contract guy. I'm happy either way. In fact, Cam Sutton, they say he's the first DB since I think Cortez Allen to actually make it to his second contract here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Even though Cortez ends up getting, I think he got released that same year he signed his extension. If I remember correctly, I think that did happen. He was doing like knee injuries and stuff.
Yeah, he fizzled out.
Yeah, but they say Cam Sutton's like one of the first ones since then to actually get drafted here and make it to a second contract.
Yeah,
think about that from the secondary, man.
We were thinking about it with Keelan Lewis.
Yeah, and that's who they keep bringing up. They were like, well, could he be like
good.
Keelan Lewis? Or I think they said
he was good.
Was it Brian McFadden? I think he's another one.
McFadden was
saying
good
he could
too.
be like that. So,
yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see, man.
For sure. But in terms of the running game, line did deteriorate a little bit over these past however many years. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Connor's shown flashes, just not all the way there. That's it. This Patterson dude, he might be it.
Patterson, man, he looks good. I'm glad hey, shout out to them bringing him up, man. Patterson looks good. I like him. I like him in the, like, even if he's not the feature, I'm just thinking like, all right, how do you feel about Eddie Snell, Anthony McFarland, and you got Patterson there? You like that? No? Yes?
He's RB1 to me.
Oh, okay.
I told you.
No rotation. He's the guy.
I say you give him the most opportunities right off the bat.
Okay.
There's I don't know, actually. I was going to say there's a reason you're drafting him. But if it's in the 5th or 6th round.
There's a reason you're drafting him in the 5th or 6th round. If he's that good, why aren't we taking him in, rounds 1, 2, or 3, right? And we can't use the whole small school logic because Trey Lance.
We know something no one else does.
Trey Lance getting drafted in the top 10 off of one game this year, man. Yeah, he played at North Dakota State. So, yeah, it's a reason why he slided where he slided. But I just think he's very intriguing, though. I like that idea. I think he's definitely a guy you should take a flyer on.
I'm intrigued as
definitely
well. What else we got?
I think that is because we got some more questions about in terms of just people saying will we draft Jeremiah Owusu, which we already said.
I hope so.
Yeah, we definitely liking that. Some running game talk about your boy Dotson. We love him. We definitely feeling that. Also, if you haven't checked out that film, just definitely check that out, man. Break down a little bit of Kevin Dotson, what he does well. And in terms of him in pass protection, that's the thing that a lot of people don't get a lot of chance to see him on. So yeah, we definitely got that covered. Talk about what Sam Darnold could potentially cost the Steelers at $4.4 million. Yeah, man. I think it was cool, man. And we're at,
this was fun as hell.
And we're at the hour 13 mark. So, even with that being said, man, I definitely, I think that's a vibe. I think that's
for sure. That was fun.
We ain't gonna kill y'all today, man. We know y'all out here rocking with us. Oh, I think it's 200 and something of y'all in here right now with us, man.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah, it got up to like 250, 260 at one point, man. So shout out to everybody that's been with us on this journey today on our first official live show. The first official live one, right?
This was, yeah.
Oh, and we got to say, right? Because people are still here right now, right? All of y'all that are still here, if y'all haven't done so, make sure you subscribe. You see the little, bam, subscribe. Just subscribe. It's that simple. You like the video, subscribe to the video. You're already feeling in the comment section. We love y'all for that. And like I said earlier, man, make sure you're showing some love, supporting the movement, man. We got the merchandise right there in the chat. Get you some gear. Who doesn't like gear, right? Who doesn't like a little shirt, little hoodie, little coffee? Like, who doesn't want that?
Yeah, why not?
Absolutely. But either way, man, shout out to everybody. And until next time.
Peace.